Welcome to The Explainer. Today we are diving deep into a topic that's got everyone talking, the Eighth Pay Commission. This is a huge deal, set to impact your paycheck, your pension, and maybe even the entire Indian economy. So, what's the real story behind all the buzz? Let's get into it. You've probably seen the headlines, right? The WhatsApp messages going viral. A massive 3x salary hike for government employees? Is it even possible? Could the minimum basic pay actually leap from 18,000 rupees all the way to 54,000? Well, that's the big question we're here to answer. All right, so let's start with what we actually know for a fact. On January 16th, 2025, the government officially approved the formation of the Eighth Pay Commission. And just like that, a period of really intense anticipation kicked off for millions of people across the country. And when I say millions, I mean it. The number of people this affects is just staggering. We're talking about 1.2 crore people. That breaks down to roughly 50 lakh central government employees and another 65 lakh pensioners. Every single one of them is watching and waiting. Okay, so to really separate the facts from the fiction here, we need to get back to basics. How are these government salaries even calculated in the first place? You'll see it's not as simple as just one single number. So, first up, what even is a pay commission? Well, it's a special group the government puts together, usually about once every 10 years. Their job is to look at the whole pay structure, salaries, allowances, pensions, the whole shebang. But here's the kicker. Their findings are just recommendations. The government doesn't actually have to accept them. This brings us to a really important term, the fitment factor. Honestly, this is kind of the magic number in this whole process. It's the multiplier that gets applied to the old basic pay to figure out the new basic pay. So essentially, this one little number is what determines how big the salary hike is going to be. And then there's the dearness allowance, or DA. The easiest way to think about this is as an inflation shield. It's an extra payment, and right now it's at 55% of the basic pay. It's designed specifically to help everyone's paycheck keep up with the rising cost of living. Let's use a simple analogy to see how this all fits together. Imagine your basic pay is, say, 10 candies. Now your allowances, like that dearness allowance we just talked about, are extra candies you get on top. So if your DA gives you 5 extra candies for inflation, your total salary is now 15 candies. The main takeaway here is that basic pay is the foundation, and everything else gets built on top of it. Okay, now that we've got the lingo down, let's tackle the main event, the great salary myth. We're about to break down exactly why that rumored 3x hike, well, it isn't quite what it seems to be. Now this right here, this is the crucial part. This is where the big misunderstanding happens. The myth, the rumor, assumes that you calculate the new basic pay and then you add the existing huge dearness allowance on top. But the reality, it's completely different. What really happens is that the old basic pay and the existing DA get merged together into a new, higher basic pay. And then, poof, the dearness allowance is reset to 0 and starts all over again. That single difference is why the 3x hike is, well, just a myth. And look, this isn't some new thing they just came up with. We saw this exact same process play out before the 7th Pay Commission back in 2016. Back then, the dearness allowance had climbed to a whopping 125%. And what happened? That entire amount was merged into the new basic pay, and the DA was reset right back to 0. History is basically repeating itself. So what does this all mean for the bottom line, for the actual number in the bank account? Well, while the rumors are flying around about a minimum pay of 54,000 rupees, market analysts like Kotak Equities have a much more, let's say, sober projection. They're suggesting the minimum pay is much more likely to rise from the current 18,000 to somewhere around 30,000. It's still a really significant hike, for sure, but it's nowhere near that 3x jump people were talking about. Okay, let's zoom out for a minute, because this isn't just about individual paychecks. The decisions made by the Pay Commission create a massive ripple effect that's felt across the entire Indian economy. This chart really puts things into perspective. You can see that the 6th Pay Commission delivered a huge 54% real pay hike. But the 7th? Much more modest, at 14.3%. So the projection for this 8th Commission, somewhere around 13%, seems to be continuing this more recent, more cautious trend. Now, economists, of course, see two sides to this coin. On the one hand, a pay hike is great for the economy. It boosts spending and helps the government attract good talent. But on the other hand, it puts a real strain on the national budget. We're talking up to 0.8% of GDP. And then there's the risk of what's called demand pull inflation. That's when you have more money chasing the same amount of goods, which can push prices up for everybody.
So, with all of this as context, where are things at right now? Well, the commission has been announced, that much is true, but some key parts of the process seem to have stalled, and that's leading to a pretty anxious wait for millions.
You see, the process is usually pretty structured. The commission gets formed in January. It usually takes about 18 to 24 months to submit its report, and the target for implementation is January 2026. The problem is, some of those crucial first steps, like actually appointing the members and defining what they're supposed to be looking at, well, that hasn't happened yet. And that delay is the real source of all this growing uncertainty. And this isn't just some administrative delay. It has a real human cost. This quote from a letter the Railway Senior Citizens Welfare Society sent to the Prime Minister, it just says it all. This prolonged silence and lack of concrete progress are leading to growing uncertainty and apprehension among the central government employees and pensioners. You can really feel the anxiety in those words.
So, in response, the employee and pensioner unions have been very clear about what they need to see happen. Their demands are really simple and direct. 1. Form the commission, and do it quickly. 2. Make the terms of reference public so everyone knows what the rules of the game are. And 3. Set and communicate a clear, transparent timeline so people know what to expect.
So, at the end of the day, it all really boils down to this single massive challenge: taking care of employees versus being smart with the country's finances. It's the ultimate balancing act for the government, and it leaves all of us with one final critical question to think about. Can India truly afford to do both?